Hey guys, I'm Nate. This is my channel. Today's video is a review on Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 1, Episode 3, Temporal Edict. This is our main cast. Jack Quaid as Brad Boimler, Noel Wells as Devon Attendi, Tawny Newsome as Beckett Mariner, and Eugene Cordero as Sam Rutherford. Our secondary cast and command crew are made up of Dawn Lewis as Carol Freeman, Jerry O'Connell as Jack Ransom, Fred Talisco as Shax, and Gillian Vigman as T'Ana. My episode summary goes thusly. A time-honored tradition in the lower decks faces changes after Carol Freeman, getting some bad news, takes her ire out on the crew with potentially disastrous consequences. Meanwhile, Mariner faces challenges of her own on an away mission gone awry. We open with an external shot of the Cerritos and what sounds like an Irish jig. We cut to Boimler prancing on stage while playing the violin. Much to the crowd's confusion, the song is called Essence, and it is a jig melody that he wrote as a tribute to his mother. Not gonna lie, that is some very impressive talent. To be able to dance like Michael Flatley while playing like Andre Rieu, good lord. I am very jealous. We get another example of Mariner's open contempt of Boimler as she and, surprisingly, Tendi push him off the stage to play a hard rock song that can be heard on the bridge, interrupting a communication between the captain and a Klingon commander. And the animated bird of prey looks awful. It's all hard lines and weird angles. I know they fix it later, but it is so out of place. I mean, it looks like the PS2 Shattered Universe Star Trek video game Bird of Prey, which, if you ever played that game, is all angles as well. Luckily, Captain Freeman manages to play off the interruption and the intense music as a problem on the Klingon ship. So, the commander leaves to murder his innocent engineer, Canuck. And poor old Canuck, he is headed straight for Stover Call. Shax gets sent down as Mariner and Tendi finish, and just as Boimler is about to restart his concert, snaps his violin, telling him to keep it down. And then we cut to the titles as Boimler waffles. I'm pretty sure that the cold open happened in the same location as the previous episode because the planet looks exactly the same, and they're dealing with Klingons, which they were dealing with Klingons in the last episode. But then I'm not 100% sure of the timeline between each episode. It could be immediately picking up after it, or it could just be, oh, this is like a week later, and we've just randomly run into some Klingons. We return to an external shot of the Cerritos in warp, and we get that classic deep TNG engine thrumming action. Really nice to hear that back. It's that boom, boom sort of sound. Oh, I love it. The opening narration is done by Commander Ransom. They're headed to Cardassia Prime for a peace summit when he is interrupted by an incoming communication. Upon reading it, he rushes to the bridge, and we get another example of why all Starfleet admirals are either dicks or a-holes. We cut to an internal shot of the bridge where an admiral has broken the news. The talks are being moved to Vulcan, mainly because people are getting weirded out by the Cardassians. Can't say I blame them there. But I have to ask, why include Captain Freeman if she's so easily replaced? Is it a power play against her admiral husband? Is it just to dick with her, as the admirals seem to want to do with Starfleet officers? It's just one of those things that just doesn't make any sense. Like, she has studied for this mission. She's, as she said, she's learned the dance. Why not let her go through with it. It just seems like they're doing it to punish her husband, not her. They have gotten reassigned to deliver some cargo, a fetch and carry mission, just what the captain needs in this frame of mind. Yes. So we cut to the brig. Mariners home away from home. They're testing the field strength of the brig's security systems using a live phaser, obviously set beyond stun. Potentially lethal if the field had failed, and given the sound effect used as Mariner is sheepishly depowering the weapon, it was more than likely set to kill. When testing the field integrity with his own little device, Boimler is blasted into the bulkhead and into near unconsciousness. With another job well done and completed, they settle in for some celebratory margaritas. Rutherford helping a very battered Boimler on one of those gravity skiffs. We learn here about buffer time, a tradition for lower decks, as most officers don't know how long a job takes anymore. We learn that Boimler is against the idea, but he still relaxes with his friends. Scotty would be very proud of them, an entire crew of miracle workers. They are interrupted by Dr. Anna, who needs a bio bed repaired, and we see Tendy's continued corruption. As she pads her estimates. Somewhere, a proud Scotsman is wiping away a manly tear. We cut to the captain, who is still majorly PO'd about the summit, and she is taking it out on her crew. Not very professional, but Kirk, Picard, Sisko, and Janeway have all done it. Usually under the influence of some foreign power, but there you go. One foolish blue-shirt crewman snarks about buffer time, which she remembers when Boimler brings it up while he's trapped in a turbolift with her. And I don't think she got physical with Boimler, but at the same time, she looks like she's about to get physical with Boimler. Using some not-so-gentle persuasion, she gets Boimler to tell her what buffer time is. He is notably stressed when he gets back to the corridor bunks they sleep in. And an edict is handed down from the captain ordering strict scheduling and ending any buffer time, following command mandates to the letter, which is stupid because, like any bureaucracy, it doesn't know what happens day to day in their offices. Like, all the tests they do are for perfect cases handed perfectly every time. It doesn't take into account any number of small little deviances that could derail an entire process. And poor old Boimler, he practically hides behind the pads as his friends try to find out who would have ratted on them. Luckily for him, they believe it's beta shift before Boimler gives a rousing speech, and they vow that they do not need any buffer time. Yeah, if only that was true. The entire ship is completely overworked as we cut to a future time. I'm guessing a few hours later. They are noticeably stressed as they try to follow the commands of the out-of-touch timetable. Again, most of the officers, the managers here, make timetables based on perfect circumstances, not on the realities of day-to-day applications. So I'd imagine that a simple process that would take 5 minutes on a brand new, up-to-date Sovereign class starship would probably take up to 15, 20 minutes on a ship like the Cerritos, and everything would be set for the Sovereign class ship, not a ship like the Cerritos. We cut to the crews running about, screaming, red flashing lights everywhere, countdowns on every flat surface panel. It is a horror show. No one has time to do anything. Even their current jobs, accidents are happening, tempers flare aboard as Mariner heads to her assignment. This is not a safe work environment at all. The only one excelling in this high-stakes environment is Boimler. We cut to the shuttle bay as Mariner arrives mid-speech by Commander Ransom. And he proves that he is also a giant dick. As he doesn't help any of the overworked crewmen, he stands, he poses, and he does rousing, to him anyway, speeches. And when Mariner calls him out on this BS, he gives her crap about her high phaser scores being the only reason that she is even allowed to leave the ship. And then he gives her the business about her uniform and the rolled-up sleeves. She correctly surmises the reason for the fetch and carry mission, and he doesn't care. No one looks happy to be going on this B-plot mission, and I can't say I blame them. None of them look like they've slept in days. Ransom gives the tired crewmen the rundown on the Garlachians and their crystal-based social structures. They have to show the honor crystal to show that they come in peace. Similar to one of my favorite Star Trek book masks and an ambassadorial mask that would show the same. The Bolian crewman is the only one laughing at the commander's jokes. Vendum. Ransom disengages the autopilot due to clouds and lands manually, like a man, impressing only himself, as everyone else is way too tired for this. They land and he continues to be a dick, and due to fatigue, Vendum actually brings out a fertility idol made of wood for Malvok Prime, the sworn enemies of the Gralachians. The Gralachians attack the away team, and Vendum eats a spear to the shoulder. Nasty. The fight is on, as Mariner again leads with a flying kick, and a move that would see even Power Rangers choreographers laugh, a star double kick, double punch. Truly, she is a martial arts master. I think they actually need a fight choreographer because this is Ahsoka level absurd. The Galakians call in reinforcements, and Ransom gets taken out with a nut shot and a stun net. And we get a Kirk reference. And I love Ransom getting taken out like that. Man's been a dick for almost every appearance he's been in, so it's nice to see some comeuppance for him. Back to the ship, and the crew are falling apart. They have so much to do and so little time, they can't even remember where the sickbay is, or their own security codes. Even Shax looks out of it as Galrakian ships move to attack them. They have some interesting looking ships. They remind me a lot of the crystalline entity from the Star Trek series, from Next Generation, and some ships we've seen in Stargate Atlantis and Babylon 5, the first one ships for them. Really interesting design. Like them. I hope we see some more of them. They were quite well designed looking little ships. The crew are out of it, so much so that they cannot even raise the shields, and Shax cannot work his own console. Captain Freeman leaps into action, but as she orders red alert, she also informs the crew that they gotta keep working. This is not an excuse to add buffer time. Idiot. This is a really anti-Carol Freeman episode. She is not getting any praise from me so far this episode. The crystalline ships launch boarding pods that latch onto the ship, and the weird-looking gremlin creatures get on board. And because of this edict by the captain, the crew choose to rather do their jobs than defend the ship. Seriously, the crew deserves a raise. If the Federation still had money, they'd like a double raise, like double pay, double time. I mean, how she keeps her job after this is a real mystery. It really is. We cut to the planet and we see Ransom being a dick again, and he and Mariner argue as the ruler shows their opponents for a trial by combat the hulking and vast Vindu. The price for failure? Death of the away team by the adjudication geode, a massive, jagged, wrecking ball-sized crystal. Not an efficient or a clean death, and I don't know how these guys got space travel in the first place if they're doing stuff like this. I mean, even the Klingons don't really do trial by combat, and you'd think they would because they're Klingons. Weird. When presented with the crystal sword, the two fight over who is going to defend the away team. We cut back to the ship, where a supremely happy Boimler is the only one not overwhelmed or overworked by his workload. He finally discovers the crystal creeps and hands them their asses easily. Trust Boimler to be the only one. I mean, really. And it's not even like he's trying. They approach him, he's outnumbered 6-1, and he's like, yeah, dude, I got a phaser, and just starts dealing with the issue. He gets up to the bridge and finds the captain manning all the consoles while most of the crew is either unconscious or is too tired to save the ship. Nice one, Carol. Shax is also too tired, so much so that he can't tell that Boimler is one of his own crewmen, and he spears the ensign almost out of his shoes. Bill Goldberg would have been proud. Carol goes off on Boimler again. Naughty. When he is the only one on time. This is when it finally clicks for Boimler that it's not just the lower decks that are on this extended timeline, but the command crew as well. And as the bridge is about to be overrun by the crystal weirdos, we jump back to Ransom and Mariner, who are still arguing over who's going to fight. They have a Lethal Weapon-esque scar show off. If you've ever seen Lethal Weapon, I believe it's Lethal Weapon 3, maybe 4. I think it's 3. A la Riggs and his future wife. Spoiler alert for a really old film. And then Ransom just stabs her in the foot and takes the blade and gets ready to fight Vindu. I wonder how bad the JAG Corps is having to deal with guys like this all the time. I mean, this can't just be on the California class. This has got to be like a mentality in Starfleet. I mean, the JAG Corps must be overworked. Ransom jumps at the chance, pulling a Hulk Hogan and tearing his shirt off, and surprisingly, he looks oiled up as well, which is really weird. I know it's probably a joke of some variety, but he literally looks like he's been swathed in baby oil. It is very strange. And surprisingly, he kicks Vender's ass. Even doing the Henry Cavill fist-cocking thing. He's just whipping this giant creature's ass. And it's strange seeing him be this competent. I mean, we've only ever seen him be a dick, be a zombie, not follow protocol, and now we see him being competent 3 episodes in. Unbelievable. We jump back to an external shot of the ship as it's being surrounded by even more crystal creatures. Shax is in the bridge defending from crystal spears as Boimler gives a pep talk to get buffer time back. And all she gets from this heartfelt, desperate speech is that she is a good captain. Yeah. She authorizes buffer time again, and we wrap up the invasion quickly. These crystal goblins are super lightweights, as Boimler pointed out. Even blue shirts are kicking their asses. It's embarrassing. And the spears seem to have suddenly lost their phaser abilities, or they just don't know how to use it anymore, as they are now just being bodied by the crew. We cut back to the trial by combat as Ransom is dominating Vindor and forces the giant crystal creature to surrender, and revealing that he's quite surprisingly multisyllabic. Apparently, he acts dumb, but is very well read. And the day is saved thanks to indiscriminate violence. The leader of the Galvakians learned nothing, as we see Vindo try to get a trial by jury going, and he decides death race. That's what we need, a death race. Genius! Though I would like to see how they get the crystal cars to work. That seems like it would be very interesting. We cut back to the ship once again, and the crew are still boarding the Galvakians. And the ship is saved. The crew start phasering off the graffiti as the shuttle returns with Ramson's battered team alive and mostly well. They send down a second team led by Shax, who show the honor crystal, and everything is good. Shax even cracks a joke about Malvok Prime, a nice way to let bygones be bygones, and we cut back to see Mariner in a meeting room. Mariner getting patched up by Dr. T'Ana, who calls her a scratching post. She has a terrible bedside manner. I don't know why she was giving our boy Rutherford such a hard time over his. Hers is barely any better. Ransom is surprised that Mariner isn't pressing charges after he stabbed her, but he still gets her arrested because of her breach of the uniform code involving rolling up her sleeves. Yes, say it with me. The man is a dick. But he is impressed by her ruthless and bloodthirsty threats. Seems the type, doesn't he? We cut to the captain's ready room where the Cerritos has established a new rule called the Boimler effect, allowing shortcuts and stopping anyone from blindly following the rules, allowing the crew to add buffer time whenever they deem it necessary. The exact opposite of how Boimler wants things. He even gets it on a plaque. Can't change it once it's on a plaque. His friends assure him that, it'll be forgotten in time. And we cut to the far future. The rule, the Boimler effect, is so popular, it is remembered in the far, far future. And he himself, Boimler, uptight, rule-following, panicky Boimler, is remembered as the laziest, most corner-cutting officer in Starfleet history, the exact opposite of what he is. And I love it. And as they reach the end of the lesson about our boy Boimler, we see Miles O'Brien, Chief of Starfleet Engineering, finally getting some due from his future Starfleet. Wonderful. So I give Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 1, Episode 3, Temporal Edict, 3 stars. It's a good episode, but Carol really drags it down, and Ransom being a dick. It's like I really hope they eventually drop the storyline with him being a dick, or at least they explain why he's a dick. But you know, I guess it can't be helped. Sometimes some characters are just dicks. So I give this 3 stars. I'm enjoying the series so far. I have to say it's been quite fun. The new aliens we're meeting have also been pretty cool. I've really enjoyed them. It's nice to see some creativity coming back into Star Trek. I'd like to thank you guys for making it this far in the video. If you liked it, leave a like, please comment and subscribe. It'll all help me with the YouTube algorithm. And I will catch you guys somewhere down the road. Have a good one, guys.